CoastFi Couple, podcast where love meets financial independence. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yana. Join us every other week as we dive into the world of CoastFi and share smart money tips for couples.
We're going to be talking all about how to strengthen your bond and your relationship and bring you closer to financial independence.
One episode at a time. Welcome back to CoastFi Couple.
Yeah, glad to have you with us.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about finding your why and how we found our why.
Yeah, so not to steal from Simon Sinek, who wrote the book, Finding Your Why, but it's also a really great way to begin with the end in mind, right? So why are we doing CoastFi? Why are we doing this instead of doing the standard work until you're ready to drop, right? So do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. I do think that finding the reason why you are building your financial journey, plan, identifying your goals is really important. For a long time in the beginning, I didn't really have a why. I think your why was my why, and your why was we have to have enough when we need to retire. And that goal felt so far away that it was hard to feel connected to the reason why I wanted financial independence or financial peace, right?
I like that approach. I was just thinking, as you're talking, about why I got into this. And I'm thinking about there's fear involved, right? When I was working, at the odd jobs, that I've had over the course of my career, I've never found one that I've really loved, and it's that life force that you're giving every day. And for me, it got to the point where I had tried so many different types of careers that it just became kind of obvious that, okay, no matter what I'm going to do, it's going to be draining, it's going to be hard, and it's going to be potentially a climb. And so once I realized that, I couldn't find anything I was really desperately passionate about. So it became about the money.
Well, I think your why was, I want to save as much money so I can leave my job.
Right. Well, that, and also to make sure that no matter what the future holds, I'm not stuck doing a job I hate or I don't enjoy. And so that's kind of the catalyst for me anyway. It was a little bit of fear, like, I really don't like this. I can't imagine doing this for 30 years plus. What's the fastest way out? And what's a way out that can let me try other things without the stress of having to have a big paycheck? So that was probably my why.
Yes.
It changed even more once I had children and once I met you, so that definitely evolved. But I think fear was my why, as terrible as that might sound.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think that has shifted that fear mindset. I think once we started building together and sharing our whys for what we wanted to do, and not just our why for reaching full fire, but the whys along the way. And again, building those goalposts along the way. Why do I want to reach this particular goalpost? Why do I want to reach the next goalpost? And being able to sort of celebrate it. I think for me, finding my why sometimes was as simple as, hey, when we reach this goalpost, I'll know that we've also saved up enough money to go on that trip that we've been planning. Or, hey, when we reach this goalpost, I know that gives us the life flexibility to, work remotely or travel more together as a family or what have you. And just really applying the numbers, the beans in the pot to what that life is going to look like for you at the time. And having a why that was only applied to 65 plus, I felt really disconnected from that because I don't know who she's going to be at 65, who I'm going to be. But I have a pretty good idea of who I'm going to be in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. And so building those whys along the way really kind of helped me build a trajectory with you that made sense.
Right. So to visualize it kind of in shorter spurts than just the end, which is a great way to look at it.
That's not what you were doing.
Definitely a healthier way to look at it. So I was not doing that. So great that we were able to find that together. I will say there was another reason why we wanted to do this together was because we both luckily believed in healthy communication.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that, money played a big role in that.
Yes, it touches everything.
We joined our finances, as we got married, we joined our finances, and, we wanted to make sure that never became a point of contention.
Right.
And I think that leads right into today's Fun 5 Fact.
I want to say something about these Fun 5 Facts. Is this the second or third one you've done? I can't remember.
It's probably third or fourth.
They're not very fun.
You're right. They're not.
The last one was about death and how we only get 10 years of traditional retirement.
That's funny. I never really commented on the fact that they're not fun.
But I think they are fun in their own way. So what is it? What's your Fun 5 Fact?
Maybe we'll have
I'm so excited.
We'll have a sound effect where it's like, Fun 5 Fact.
It's a want fact.
So it's a want fact. I like the fact that it's Fun 5. But yeah, we'll play with it. Okay. We'll workshop it. All right. So today's Fun 5 Fact. Financial problems contribute to around 40% of all divorces. So that means that for every 10 marriages that end in divorce, 4 of them are because of money.
I knew that it was a big contributor, but I just didn't realize how much of a contributor that it was.
And, in a way, it does make perfect sense because money makes the world go round. We need money to do the things that individually we might want to do or that we want to do with the family. There's a lot of trust that comes with managing money. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of mistakes. Miscommunication.
I think about the sort of, really toxic combination that could occur when not only are you stressed about money, and that's taking up a lot of your brain space and affecting the way that you are communicating with your partner, right? But you're also stressed about other things in your life, and your partner has a different idea about what you should be doing with money, or maybe also isn't bringing healthy tools to the table with money. Yeah. That seems like it makes perfect sense that it's such a massive contributing factor.
Yeah, 40%.
The more that Yana and I simplify and automate our finances, the happier we became. And this is the single greatest finance budgeting tool that's come out in recent times. It's called Cube Money, and it's changing the way couples implement financial health. We're investors in this company. We have exclusively been using Cube Money to do our own personal budgets since 2020. And it's so simple that even our kids are now using it. Cube has developed and patented a technology they call Default Zero. And it requires a category to be opened from your personal budget before you can spend with the card. And then once you spend, it deducts it all in real time. This single feature has made Cube the safest card in the world to use. If you drop it, it always has a zero balance on it unless you open the budgeting app. It's been extremely handy for us, and it saved us actually several instances of fraud, and we're never going to go back. Cube is perfect for families too, because they've got shared spending categories that allow you to spend in real time from them, and everyone else in the family can see the updated balance. It's essentially making it 100% foolproof to always stick to our budget, and that has actually been the case. We have not overspent from our budget since we started Cube, and it's amazing. This is the tool that helped us get a handle on our family spending and made our journey to CoastFi so much easier. So if you're ready to take your budget to the next level where you truly can automate it, you truly set it and forget it, then you're in luck, because Cube Money is offering an exclusive deal just for our listeners. Go to cubemoney.com, that's QUBE money.com, and at checkout use the code COAST. You can try the premium or the family membership for free. And again, we highly recommend it. It's a personal endorsement. We know that if you use the program, it'll work for you. Enjoy.
So, I did know this statistic even before I married you, before I, went down that path together.
Yes.
And so it was top of mind even back then.
Mm-hmm.
We hear a lot about divorce, and I really wanted this to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so beginning with, why, we wanted to start and build a healthy foundation of strong communication around money.
Right.
And what we do with it, why we use it, because it's ultimately not at all about money. It's about the communication.
It's about communication. And I will say something that I look back on and I think about our early years in our early marriage. I do think that we both were very purposeful in having those discussions for a reason, even when they were difficult and hard.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about the things that were stressing us out and difficult and hard because we wanted to fix it and be on the same page. It's a challenge that we get to get over together. It's not, I want to do this and you want to do that. And we're going to fight about it. It's more so like, we are both in the boat,
Yeah. It is really easy to fall into a pattern of hiding things.
Sneaky spending.
Is a very easy thing that I can, understand couples would do. Even around gifts, sometimes I have an urge to, buy you something elaborate, and it could be, hundreds of dollars or $1,000 trip or whatever to go somewhere. But I would, knowing, what we've built, would be extremely guilty spending that kind of money without first approaching the idea with you. And I know that you would, understand or forgive me or give me a pass on that spend, but that would put a seed of doubt, I think, in your mind. And same, if you came home with a $5,000 new car or something without previously talking about it, like
surprise.
I think it's a surprise, and it would be like, oh, are we gonna have more of those surprises? It's like, well, how's that gonna play out, right? And so it's just about establishing that pattern of
purposeful accountability. Yeah, I just came up with that.
Put that on a shirt. I like that. It's very good.
It's uncomfortable in the beginning, but then it kind of, you get in the habit of it, and it's nice and it's peaceful to be able to say, this is what we're doing, and these were my choices, and I feel really good and confident about these choices.
Yeah.
There's a sense of peace in that.
Yeah.
And then having an accountability partner that you can also lean on and trust.
Yeah, and play the game with.
Yeah,
right?
The little game.
It is a little game. So the other point, and I'm glancing at my notes here because I think that this is an important part of the journey, and I want the listeners that we're speaking to come up with their own why. But for us, we have kids,
right,
and I wish that I'd known. I think every person will say this that has kids, but if I only knew what I knew now when I was younger, how different and possibly greater the life could be. We've both taken jobs that we didn't like necessarily because we needed the money. And I don't necessarily want our kids to follow that same pattern.
Yeah.
I would love the gift of knowledge that we can pass on to them.
They can do whatever they want as long as they have a solid financial foundation.
Yeah. If we can say, hey, even as early as, their very first job babysitting or whatever, that they take a percentage of that and they save it for long term, and they've established that habit. And then we can teach them on the back end what to do with those savings.
How to invest it.
Yeah. And today, right, the best way that we know of is low cost mutual funds or low cost index funds that span, the whole market. Now that strategy may change when we're in our 90s, but it's the best strategy that we can pass on to our kids today.
It's lower risk.
It's low risk because as long as you believe in the markets growing over time, which historically that's what happens. It's the best bet we have.
Yeah.
Right. And so let's teach our kids that you can do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do. Just save a percent of your income to savings. Make it be a healthy percent in the beginning, right? Like we talked about last episode, is spread the pain.
Right.
Right. So if you have a 30% savings rate when you're 16, just imagine the wealth and the flexibility that our kids will have when they're our age.
Yeah.
So that's another reason to do this, but also this podcast. Like we've talked about this all the time, right? Like we're sharing knowledge not only with others, but with our kids, and we're learning along the way. And I love it.
I want to teach people who are just kind of playing around with the idea about financial independence and maybe not sure if it's right for them. Just learn about it a little bit and see if it's something that could positively impact your life. Probably can. I wish that I had purposefully learned more sooner. Even just if I were more up to speed 5 years ago, our life would be in such a different place. There's certain risks that we haven't taken, or certain things that we haven't done, or certain jobs that we've taken or not taken because we were just trying to get as many beans as we could and didn't want to take any risks. I wish I had known more sooner. And I think it would have made such a huge impact in such a positive way, and not just for our own wealth building over time and being able to leave a financial legacy to our kids, but being able to impart some of that education onto our kids as well.
Yeah.
So luckily our kids are, still very young, and we've got plenty of time to really guide them, which I am so excited about.
Thrilled.
But I hope that this podcast finds that young couple that is just getting started, or that couple that's been married for a few years and they're trying to figure out how to communicate effectively around finances and build goals together that's for both of them. And maybe one of them is a bit more rigid, and maybe one of them is the free spirit, right? And they're trying to find a way to build a life that they are both excited about, that is, maybe challenging but really rewarding.
Yeah.
And what did I call this podcast the other night? I want this to be the gateway drug. I want this to be the gateway drug to financial independence for people.
Yeah. There's no reason in today's age with the internet and the information out there for everyone in the US to be exposed to this and to better their lives very easily by these basic steps.
Yes.
And so, they don't teach this in school yet, right? We're advocating for that. We're trying to get this information out there because it really should be taught in schools.
Yes.
We've talked in previous episodes about the stool concept and how, our parents didn't have the same challenges that we have in this generation.
Right.
Pensions were a thing.
We have to start sooner, and we have to be more aggressive.
It's on us to learn and to pass it on, because, who else is going to do it? Our kids are going to be growing faster than you realize, and we just want to make sure that they're not left to their own devices without the information.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also want this to be an opportunity to build community and learn from other people. That's another big why for me in coming into this community, with 2 feet in it instead of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I realized pretty soon that there's some really amazing people in this community, so helpful, so kind, so knowledgeable, and so mature. I've been so impressed by some of the speakers at some of these events that we've gone to. Some of our friends have their own podcasts, and they're funny and they're smart, and I want to learn from them. And I feel confident going to them with a question, or if I have an idea that I'm not sure is smart or well thought out. I feel confident in the community that we've built, that these people are well educated in this and genuinely want to be helpful. And so that's another one of my whys, not just wanting to, figure out the best way to reach financial independence as quickly as possible, or go on this CoastFi path with you. It's not just an individual journey. I mean, it is. Everybody's financial independence journey is personal. It's called personal finance for a reason, right? Someone else's journey isn't going to perfectly be applied to what you've got going on with your numbers in your life. But having a sense of community around it and wanting to learn more about it and wanting to connect with some of the people in the FI community has been a driving factor for me, because they're great people. So
yeah, that's a good point. It can get very lonely on this path, right? Because you're not going out to eat. You're not joining everyone for the trips to.
I mean, you are, but within reason and within your budget, right?
With purpose, you can, right? So if you know with enough advance notice, you know, you could potentially save for a trip of sorts. But
there's certainly less spontaneity.
Definitely less spontaneity, and it can also be a very difficult conversation to, you know, tell a partner, hey, I really want to spend $3,000 or $4,000 to join a group of friends on this trip when, you know, for months or years, we've been pinching pennies and trying to, you know,
build an emergency fund or get to a specific savings rate for the year or something.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I do think that it would be hard to have that conversation. And we've had those conversations before, right? Where we have to realize, hey, this is truly value add, and we're going to have to absorb that somehow if we want to do that. And luckily it's a shared communication, but I forgot where I was going with the point on this.
It's okay. We'll come back around
to it. Yeah. So yes, I agree with you. The community is important.
Yes.
It does help when you are feeling kind of burned out and lost. You know, I've got family that is also kind of on this path in a way, and they don't have the community locally, or they haven't explored that yet, and it's harder. It's harder doing it alone,
right? Because
everyone's calling you crazy, and you start calling yourself crazy. So it's helpful to have other people being like, hey, you're not crazy. I went through that last year, or here's what happens when you get past that phase, right?
Right.
So, because it can be hard, but it is so rewarding, and it's so worth it. And the community is there every step of the way. And I imagine that when you and I, you know, do fire, right? Because we're coasting now, but when we truly fire, we're going to want to spend time with these people, traveling the world and, you know, spreading this message of peace that can come with control.
Yeah.
So
I want other people to do it so I can meet them and be friends with them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Great.
Well, I think that is probably a good time to stop this episode.
Okay.
You know, it's simple, hopefully digestible little bites of our experience.
Yeah. I think finding your why is a very personal question, and sometimes it can be complicated when you are exploring that question with a partner.
Yeah, true. Because your why might not be the same.
It might not be the same. And also your why might change, and don't be afraid of the pivot. You know, for a long time, like you said, your why was sort of based in the sense of fear and sort of a scarcity mindset and just not wanting to have to work. And then it's shifted, and that's really exciting and empowering. So yeah.
Great. Well, that wraps up the episode. Thank you guys for joining. We'll continue next episode.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Take care.